Welcome to River City Plus, the show after the show, the River City After Party. I am here with JP Shadrick. You know him as the senior reporter of the JAGS, who just got back from London.
I did, as did the entire team. There was a lot going on there for 2 weeks, Jana. It was a full team effort, though. And, the team's one thing. They're doing all the work on the field and the practices, getting ready to play 2 games there. But I want to give some credit to the Jaguars front office staff and a lot of the folks that were over there. At least 100 and 120, somewhere in that ballpark, people went over to get ready for the game at Wembley, the first game there, and all the events leading up to it. There was a country concert on Thursday before the game at Wembley Arena, so a lot of our staff were involved in that. Of course, the game itself, the game presentation, ticketing office was involved in that. Everything from top to bottom, the Jaguars ran that game at Wembley, so it took a full team effort on that side. And then on the back end, the events, we had shows. Our shows were in a pub for 3 nights a week.
I know, but it looked like you guys were having so much fun.
There's never a bad time in the basement of a pub over there, so we had that going on as well. So a credit to our staff, and it was a first-class operation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly how you all do everything. Since this is River City Plus and this little unscripted, I can do this. We also want to say thank you to Lindsay, who has been behind the scenes making sure that we can go live from right here on the deck, which has been really special. It's a great relationship. So shout out to Lindsay, even though she won't be on camera because she's been hiding all morning.
She brought out the heat, too, at the end
I know,
here
Lindsay,
to speed us up a little bit.
Thanks for the sun. She's like, get off my deck.
It's all good.
But we've really had such a great morning so far, and we have been talking about the JAGS, but I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about you because people know you, they love you, they hear you, and they know that you're the source of info and fun for the JAGS. But how did you get to this point? Because that's really what everyone wants to know. When you get those DMs, I see the comments on your Instagram page. How did you get to do what you do? So you want to give us the inside scoop?
Well, very lucky. First of all, I grew up in Birmingham, but I've been in Jacksonville since 2006 when I took the Jacksonville Suns job. I was the play-by-play announcer for the baseball team for 5 seasons, and then was working my way up minor league baseball, and I moved away to Oklahoma City for a year plus, and then I came back and took a PR job with the Jaguars. So I was designing the game program and the media guide and doing credentialing requests and interview requests, and then it kind of morphed from there back on the broadcast side. So pregame and postgame radio since 2012. So that was really my background was baseball a long time. But I've been in town for a long time, and now I've been with the Jags for a long time on top of that. So it's kind of building up over and over, but it's a great place to be, and that's the basics of it. I mean, there's a lot more in the earlier days, but it's great to be in a town this long like this. Jacksonville's fantastic.
And it's got to be a special time to be part of the JAGS because if you've been here that long, you've seen a lot of their history, a lot of what they've gone through as a team, as an organization. What are some of the changes you're most excited about?
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of change
in
that time. Wow. Yes, there's been a lot going on in the last 10, 12 years. Moving forward here is just the future of the team in this city and what could be with the possible stadium of the future and everything that's going into that. I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. That would be a great step, obviously, for this organization. We've already seen it in Daly's Place. Mm-hmm. We've already seen it in the world's largest video boards, at least when they were built. They're still really looking great behind us, obviously. And we've seen it in the Miller Electric Center, the dedication the Jaguars have to the city. And I think it goes both ways. The fans are locked into the football team, too. It is the one major professional sports team in town. And that goes a long way. And fans are passionate about this team. Just seeing them out at events. I mean, I was at an event the other night, a Crucial Catch event down at Main Event, and there were 5 players there, and the place was packed. And it was a lot of cancer survivors, a lot of them kids who have grown up only with the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. And now there's multiple generations of fans who grew up with the team that can now come and get tickets and come on their own because they're adults now. So seeing that second, now third generation of Jaguar fan is my favorite thing.
And that's really special. I'm so glad that you mentioned the night out that you all had at Main Event. That was a really great event. I'll make sure you guys have links to be able to see that. But it was such a wonderful celebration of, kids that are really trying to get healthy. And Crucial Catch, the fact that the NFL has an initiative that's about prevention. It's, about making sure that people are safe on the front end. And it's something that the entire NFL can get behind. How does that make you feel being part of that as a global picture?
Oh, it's pretty neat. I mean, they did it, 2008, 9, somewhere in that area. They started this initiative to start wearing some gear and getting money. There's an online auction. I think some of the players, the stuff that they'll wear on Sunday, you'll be able to buy, and it all goes to the cause to get the word out for early detection and equity and everything that goes into cancer screening for everybody. Everybody needs to have the same opportunity to be screened early. So it's really cool. It really is. And then you have, obviously, you talked to one of our players this week in Chandler who's dealt with it himself. So you get those stories on top of it. And we're heavily involved, obviously, with the Tom Coughlin J Fund. So we see a lot of firsthand children who are battling it, and then the families who are supporting those kids as well. And they're going to be heavily involved in the game here on Sunday. So, yeah, it's always a special day here at the bank. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and something that we were talking about just before we came on air for the show is we were talking about it's so wonderful to hear stories like that, like Chandler shared with us, because a lot of times you see the number on someone's jersey. That's the only thing you know, love, and or hate about them, and you get a bit dehumanized sometimes when you're an athlete, and I think you've seen that on both sides. So how do you feel going into something where we get to experience players on another level, when you get to see them out in the community and see what they're passionate about?
It's a great thing because, yeah, you can scream at the TV all you want.
Sure.
But at some point, there's somebody beneath that face mask who's had either some kind of trial or tribulation to get to where they are as a professional athlete. It does not given really to anybody. You got to go out and work for it, and others have to overcome certain things to get to that point. So everybody in that locker room has a story. And part of my job is, and our job is to find those stories and kind of present them along in a lot of our shows and programming, because it's not just a Madden game. You know, these are real life human beings that are playing football, and there's a lot that goes into the build up leading into a game.
What's the most special story that anyone's ever shared with you from the JAGS arena or from the JAGS team? Do you have one that stands out to you?
I'll tell you what, I mean, the Chandler one's pretty strong. I know you got to talk with him. That's an all-time, fight and survival, and not like he was a young kid when it happened either. So he had lived some life and had to overcome a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of, players, a guy like Darius Williams, right? So, he went to a community college. Then he went to University of Alabama, Birmingham. The program was blown out. They stopped playing football. So he came back to FSCJ here in Jacksonville. He went to Creekside High School. So he was at FSCJ, wasn't sure if he was going to play football again. UAB brought back the program and gave him a scholarship back. He finished there, was undrafted, had to fight through, and now he's in like year 6, and he had interceptions in back-to-back games last 2 weeks, and he's a real leader, a 30-year-old player on this team, and it's just that kind of thing, never quitting and staying with it. Whether it's obviously the Chandler Brewer story is a totally different level of that, but this is their livelihood. I mean, guys are fighting for their livelihood and for their families.
Yeah, just in case you missed it on the show, Chandler Brewer, when he was 20, was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he shared with me, he was doing great, he was on his way, and at 20, I mean, because you're right past that high school age, like you really feel like you're making your impact when you're going into college. So to get a prognosis like that, he just, he got emotional, and I just said, what is it that makes you emotional about this? He's like, because there's nothing you can do about it. You're working hard, you're putting in the reps. He said, I was in there lifting, and he said, to get this and have to share this with my family, but he also said that luckily the Lord had a hand on him and that his family was there. And he said that's just what he wants to share, is when he goes into hospitals for kids to see him. I mean, you see this big, strong guy, who's taking out other ones on the field. So I think for him to project that image for kids who aren't feeling their strongest because you were physically so weakened when you go through cancer treatments, to see someone like that who's just running through other human beings' bodies, to see that is such a sign of strength. But when you talk to him, it's this kindness and this sweetness. I was like, I'm your new biggest fan. Lindsay and I both were in there yesterday, and I'm like, you have 2 huge fans. Like, I was a fan before, but now I'm like fan for life.
Love it. A great story, and I hope he continues to progress in his professional football career too. Practice squad player, an important piece of what the Jaguars do in the week building up to the game. That at some point we'll see him progress, I think, and get on an active roster.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think people like that who just put in so much time on and off the field, they're destined for greatness. And when they have an attitude like that that's so community forward and first, it just really makes them special.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to have that drive. That drive has to be there. You can't teach that drive.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these guys, You don't just show up in the NFL and play. You have to have a little something deeper to be able to compete week to week and be doing it for year after year as well. So the guys who are around for like 15 years, I mean, that is a different level of drive.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be around for that long.
Yeah,
too.
right? I mean, it's kind of like Jana.
Right.
She's got that kind of drive. She does that on Channel 4 all the time, here on this show and on the post show and everything. So it shows on camera.
Just trying to be like you.
I don't know about
Trying to
that.
represent the 904.
Careful with that.
In all the right ways.
I don't think you, yeah.
Well, JP, thank you so much for hanging out. I know I got to go buy you a drink now, maybe from Brackish. Get to hang out here at the stadium. But thanks for joining us here on River City Plus.
The donkey drink? Is it too early for that?
The Duval Donkey?
Duval
no,
Donkey.
It's a breakfast beverage.
It is
fine.
now.
It's fine.
I'll say that.
All right. Well, cheers to River City Plus. We will catch you guys on Monday morning for River City Live.
Go jump in the pool.
To the pool.